Are you looking for a festive gift for someone or want to make stockings for your kids? My granny stitch stocking is so easy to make, works out fast and is a great stash buster project. Use as many colours as you like or crochet in classic colours like mine. So today I'm going to be using Stylecraft Life double knit, and this particular one has these little neps in the yarn which gives you a kind of tweedy look. I'll be using 2 different colours for mine, but you can of course use as many colours as you like. And I'll be working with a 4mm hook today. I'm going to start with by putting a slip knot on my hook. And we're going to chain 4 and join to that first stitch to make a ring. Then go to chain 3. This counts as our first double crochet. Then going to put another double crochet into that ring. And I'm going to keep putting double crochets into the ring until I have a total of 15 double crochet. That's including that chain 3 as well. Now I was working over my tail as I went, and then you can just give that a little bit of tug and that will close up that hole just a little bit in the center. Then going to join to the top of that chain 3. So we're going to chain 3. This counts as our first double crochet. We're going to put another double crochet into that same stitch, and in the next stitch a double crochet, and then another double crochet into that same stitch, and we're going to repeat this all the way around with 2 double crochets in each stitch for a total of 30 stitches. We're going to join to the top of this chain 3 and begin round 3. So we'll chain 3 to start. This counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to put double crochet, another one, whoops, in that same stitch. In the next stitch, double crochet, and in the following stitch 2 double crochet. So we're going to repeat this around, alternating between 1 double crochet and then in the next stitch 2 double crochet. In the next stitch 1 double crochet, in the following stitch 2 double crochet. So just keep repeating that all the way around. For a total of 45 stitches, and as usual we're going to join to the top of the chain 3, and for the next round chain 3 to start, and put another double crochet into that same stitch, in the next stitch double crochet, in the following stitch double crochet, and that's what we're going to repeat. So in the next stitch 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, and in the next 2 stitches 1 double crochet, so just repeat that all the way around for a total of 60 stitches, and we're then going to join with the slip stitch. We finished with our increases now, so from now on we're just going to be working a double crochet into each stitch. So chain 3 to start, we'll put a double crochet into the next stitch and the next stitch, and in each stitch around just 1 double crochet in each stitch. So I've worked all the way around, put a double crochet in each stitch, and then just joining with the slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. So you're going to repeat this round twice more. Okay, so I've just finished round 7. I'm going to fasten off now. So I am done with the green. Now you're going to end up with something that looks like this kind of bowl shape. So what you want to do is fold that in half like so. And that makes the toe part of your stocking. So I'm changing colours now. I'm going to be using this natural colour. I don't know what it's called. Natural Nep. It's called Natural Nep. There we go. So I'm going to put a slip knot on my hook with a new colour. And I'm going to put a single crochet into that stitch where we fastened off. Like so. And then I'm going to do another stitch on top of it. So it's a stacked stitch. I'm going to put my hook through this first leg and work a single crochet. And that's going to count as our first double crochet. Now you can do this actually here instead of the chain 3 if you want to, but I like to do this when I'm working granny stitch because I just think when it's in the round it looks a bit more seamless. So we're going to put 2 double crochet into that same stitch. That's 1. Now I like to carry this tail and work over it as I'm going, so I'm going to pick that up while I'm doing this second double crochet. So I'm going in with the first part of the double crochet as normal, then I'm just going to lay the tail over the hook, finish off that stitch, and then take that across. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and a double crochet into that one. So I'm going around both of those into the stitch, pulling up a loop, finishing off that double crochet stitch, and then just gently pulling that so it disappears. And then I can do 2 more double crochet into that same stitch and work over that tail. And again, I'm going to pick it up once more after I've done the first part of that stitch, pick up the tail, finish off the stitch, carry it across, skip the next 2, double crochet into that next stitch, just pull that so it disappears, and then 2 more into that same stitch. And I'm going to repeat this all the way around. So skip 2 and then a granny cluster, which is 3 double crochet into the same stitch. Skip 2, granny cluster, skip 2, granny cluster, all the way around. So I worked all the way around in granny stitch, skipping those last 2 stitches and then joining to the top of that stacked stitch. And now we're going to turn. And we're going to start off by putting a stacked stitch into this space here, like so. And then 2 double crochet into that same space. I'm going to continue now around and put a granny cluster into each of the spaces. So that's 3 double crochet into each space. Now, because I'm going to be alternating with just 2 colours, I want to be able to carry the yarn inside the stocking, so I don't have to keep joining a new yarn every time and having lots of ends to weave in. I did find that if I changed colour by pulling the last part of the stitch through with a new colour, that I was getting little blips of colour on the right side that I could see that I didn't like. So I'm going to join with this colour, then I'm going to turn, then I'm going to drop this colour down and then pick up the green again, which I completely forgot to leave attached. I shouldn't have fastened that off earlier. So if you're watching this back, sorry for the mistake there. Okay, so I made a quick Russian join so I can correctly show you how to carry this up the back. So we're going to lay down this old colour. We're going to take the green and we're going to chain 1. Don't pull it too tight because you are going to have that float at the back, which I should have carried up and caught that at the back with the previous row, which I didn't do, but I will show you how to do that so you won't make my mistake. Okay, so we're going to start off with the stack stitch again by putting a single crochet here and then putting our hook through that first leg, making another single crochet, and then 2 double crochets into that same space. 1 and 2. And then we're going to carry on all the way around with a granny cluster in each space. So at the end of the round, I'm just going to join to the top of that first stitch and turn. I'm going to drop down the green. Remember to always have your floats going up the inside of the stocking. So just hold that green down, chain one with a new colour, and then start with your stacked stitch. Like so, and we're just going to continue with a granny cluster in each space all the way around. Now you need to work a total of 14 rounds in granny stitch, so you can change colour as often as you want. I'm doing 2 rows of white, 1 row of green, and alternating that, but you can, as I said, change colour as often as you like. If you're using more than 2 colours, I recommend you fasten off after each round. So you go ahead and work your 14 rounds of granny stitch, and I'll meet you back here when you're ready to carry on with the heel. Once you've worked your 14 rounds in granny stitch, you're going to fasten off with the white, or whichever colour you're using at this point. Now you want to orient your stocking so that you've got the seam at the back. So from where the seam is, we're going to count 4 granny clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put my hook in the first stitch of that granny cluster there and just pull my yarn through. And chain 1, and I'm going to put single crochet in there, and then I'm going to put another single crochet on top to make a stacked stitch. I'm then going to go and put a double crochet into the next 23 stitches, so you will have 24 double crochet all together, and this is the first row of the heel. So this is how it should look at the end of the first row. I've got 24 double crochet stitches. Now I'm going to turn, and I'm going to do a stacked double crochet for that first stitch. So put a single crochet in there and stuck another one on top, and I'm going to double crochet into the next 9 stitches for a total of 10 double crochet. I'm next going to double crochet 2 together. So if you haven't done this before, you yarn over, hook goes into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, hook goes into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through all of those loops. So we've worked double crochet 2 together, and we're going to do that again in the next stitch. You can then go ahead and work a double crochet into each of the remaining 10 stitches. At the end of the row, I'm going to turn and start the row with a stacked double crochet. So that's 2 single crochets stacked together. Then going to double crochet into the next 8 stitches. So that's 9 stitches in total. So I've got my 9 single crochet. We're then going to decrease 2 stitches over the next 4 stitches. So that's double crochet 2 together twice. So there's double crochet 2 together, and we're doing that twice. And then double crochet in the remaining 9 stitches. For this next row, you're going to double crochet into the first 8 stitches, then double crochet 2 together twice, double crochet in the next 8 stitches. For the following row, it'll be double crochet in 7 stitches, double crochet 2 together twice, double crochet 7 stitches, and for the row after that, it's exactly the same but with 6 stitches, double crochet 6, double crochet 2 together twice, double crochet 6. I will meet you back when you've finished off the heel. Once you've finished, your heel should look something like this. We're then going to fold that heel in half And then we're just going to turn it over and we're going to slip stitch into this first stitch here, or the last stitch, just to join. Okay, so we've joined with the slip stitch. I'm now going to put a single crochet into this space that we've got from the heel. So we'll just put a single crochet in there, and then we're going to stack another one on top for our stacked double crochet. And then I'm going to put 2 more double crochet into that space. 1 and 2. We're now going to be working along this edge of the heel. So we're going to skip this row here and then put a granny cluster into the next row around this post. So it's 3 double crochet. 1, 2 and 3. And then we're going to skip the next one and put 3 double crochet, granny cluster, into that next row. We'll skip this next row and put another granny cluster around the post of this stitch here. We're now going to work into this space just here. So we'll put a granny cluster in there. And then we can see exactly where we need to go now. We're going to put a granny cluster in each space all the way around until we get back to the heel. So I've worked all the way around. You can see we're back at the heel now. We've got one more space to work into just here. So I'm going to put a granny cluster into that space. And then we're going to start working into the heel. So we're going to work around the post of this first stitch with a granny cluster. Skip this next row and then granny cluster in the next row. Skip the next row and we'll put a final granny cluster in the following row. Whoops. And here we are back at the start, so we're just going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch, and then we will turn our work. And what you're going to do now is just repeat exactly what you were doing at the beginning, alternating your rows, and you're going to work from the heel. It will be a total of 20 rounds in granny stitch, so that's counting from this row here. So I'll meet you back once you finish those 20 rounds. So I've added my 20 rounds in granny stitch, and we're now ready to add the ribbing onto the top of our stocking. But before we do that, we're just going to quickly whip stitch together this little hole that we've got in the heel here. So just using some yarn on a darning needle, just hiding that tail in there. There we go. So I'm just going to whip stitch through the back loops. Just working along each stitch to close up that heel. You can then just push your tail through to the inside. And then just weave that tail end in. And then you can just snip that off. So I'm using the green again for the ribbing, the same colour I used for the toe and the heel. And I'm just going to attach just at the back where that seam was, not that you can really see it, attach my yarn with a slip stitch. Now we're now going to chain 41. Okay, so I've got my 41 chains. We're now going to start the ribbing. I'm going to skip that first stitch and then put a single crochet into that second chain from the hook. And I'm going to go ahead and put a single crochet in each chain all the way to the end, for a total of 40 single crochet. Now we're going to be attaching our ribbing to our stocking as we go along. So we're now going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. So that's 1 and 2. We're now going to turn. Now usually the correct way to turn your work is this way, so that you end up with your yarn, working yarn behind you. This gives you the neatest edges, but in this instance when we're attaching the ribbing to the stocking, it actually works better if you turn the other way. This way you get a neater edge along the outside of your stocking. So we're going to skip those 2 skip stitches. We're going to skip the 2 slip stitches. So we've got 1, 2, and then we're going to work into the back loop only with a single crochet into that next stitch. And this is how we're going to be working from now on, always into the back loops. So you're going to work a back loop, single crochet into every stitch all the way to the end of your row. Until you get to your last stitch, I'm going to show you a little trick to get those edges of your ribbing really nice and neat and tidy. So in this last stitch only, we're going to single crochet through both loops, like so. And then when we turn, we're not going to chain 1 as we would normally. We're going to turn and we're going to very slightly elongate that loop and then put a single crochet in this very first stitch through both loops. And then in each other stitch, we're back into working into the back loops only again. So a single crochet in the back loop of every stitch. So we're back at the end of the stocking here. I've got another stitch to work into. Now this stitch at the end can sometimes be difficult to see, so it might be helpful if the first stitch of the next row you put a marker in there to make sure you're not skipping that stitch, or alternatively keep counting your stitches so you're not losing any. So again, we're going to slip stitch into the next 2, 1, 2, and we're turning this way, skipping these first 2 stitches and then single crochet in the back loop of that first single crochet stitch. So if you want to, go ahead and put a stitch marker in here just so that you can make sure you're not losing any stitches. And then you're going to carry on again and work a single crochet in the back loop of each stitch until you get to the end, and there again it will be a single crochet through both loops. So you're just really repeating the last 2 rows now until you've worked all the way around your stocking. So I'm almost at my final row here, and I'm just going to slip stitch into these last 2 stitches and then turn my work, and then I'm going to work the last row back up, and then we will join the 2 sides together. So I'm now ready to join the sides of the ribbing together. We're going to do this by actually working in the front loops this time. We've been working in the back loop so far, but now we're going to work into the front loop. So I'm just picking up that front loop of the stitch and then getting the bottom loop from the foundation chain and making a slip stitch. So picking up that front loop into the foundation chain and slip stitch. And you're going to just do this stitch for stitch all the way across. Once you get to the end, you're just going to fasten off and weave in that end. So I made some tassels to finish off mine. Also got these cute little wooden carved name tags. You can attach those as well. And I've also got these leather straps that you just attach with a rivet. All you do is you just push the rivet through to the other side. pop that on and push the back of your rivet on, like so. I will link where I got these from. So I'm just threading this onto a yarn needle through the side of the stocking and then tying with a bow, like so. And you can attach your little wooden name label in exactly the same way. If you'd like to know exactly how I made the tassels, then watch this video next.